My name is Brandon Moore. I'm 17 years old in the 11th grade, and I live in the city of Lima, Ohio. The title of my oration is Amazing Grace. Written in the late 1700s by none other than John Newton, a slave owner turned Christian. And while John Newton is widely credited to the lyrics to this amazing song, the melody is still unknown today. If you were to ask me, I believe that was the passengers upon Newton's slave ship who undoubtedly hummed their way to freedom, at least in their minds. Those who were enslaved knew that only God's amazing grace could help them endure the tragedies of being kidnapped from their homeland in Africa, sold into slavery, beaten by their captors, the women raped, and ultimately treated as if they're less than men and women. Furthermore, I believe that their strength rested in knowing that God's amazing grace helped them, and songs like Amazing Grace carried them through, in spite of what happened to them. Now close your eyes and imagine sounds of African drums playing melodic songs. Songs of free people, but although they were taken from their homeland and placed into captivity, I do not believe the songs just stopped. But perhaps the songs only changed because of the conditions that they were forced to live in. In essence, freedom songs return to songs of freedom, songs that reminded Africans or enslaved people that they were still free, even in captivity. It has been said that John Newton came up with the song Amazing Grace due to the trouble he had experienced on the high seas. Even a slave owner like Newton knew that only God's amazing grace could carry him and his passengers through the storms on the high seas. This led Newton to give his life to Christ. I can hear Newton saying, "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. 'Twas blind, but now I see." After this conversion experience, Newton freed his slaves, and it indeed was amazing grace. Furthermore, it was that same amazing grace that gave Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. peace while he was prisoner in that Birmingham jail back in 1963. It was songs like "We Shall Overcome," "Precious Lord," and "Amazing Grace" that gave him the courage to stand up against racism, discrimination, and other unfair, unequal acts. Through God's amazing grace, this helped Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his followers lead a protest march 50 miles from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. The march was intended to end racial disenfranchisement to African Americans due to literacy tests. And I believe that their strength rested in knowing that God's amazing grace carried them through, even in the cruelty that they had faced. On Sunday, March 5th, 1965, marchers were assaulted by Alabama state troopers. This day is known as Bloody Sunday. But despite this problem, they continue to march on singing, "Ain't nobody gonna turn us around."
Yeah.
Through God's amazing grace, what had started out as 300 people quickly grew to over 25,000 people marching for equality. These actions caused President Johnson to sign the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I can hear Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. echoing a portion of John Newton's song. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, we have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought us safe this far, and grace will lead us home.